So we are getting into the example how Moses in the Exodus applied or utilized the holy watchers to do the miracles in Egypt. So 1 Aki chapter 4, let's start at 59 so that we build story has substance. 1 Aki chapter 4 verse 59, and it came to pass, is one of the book of remembrance, that Moses saw the king as he was traveling in the way that he was unto him. And he said unto him, you have seen that thus far your gods have been put into flight before the God of Israel. So they did some contention of miracles, and Moses won. Will you now yield and let the people go to worship him? And the king answered him not a word. And Moses said, all the holy watchers obey my voice because of the love of the God of Israel. So Moses is saying, he said, in order to talk to the holy watchers, we have to know their language. So Moses is able to talk in spirit the same language that and command the holy watchers because of the love of the God. They obey my voice because of the love of the God of Israel. And we have seen that I am a man, both drawn out of the water and a son of a river. So Moses say, my angels, I use the angels of water myself. I originate from the angels of water. Wherefore, all the things of the water obey my voice. I'm no stranger to the waters. That's what he's saying. So be it known to you that this day I challenge your God called Reshupo, who is your, maybe I'm not pronouncing it good, but you'll try to pronounce it yourself, who is your God of lightning, rain, and thunder. Perhaps you had best petition him, and I will call upon the God of Israel, and we will see who shall prevail, God or Rishpu. And the king said, we shall see. So here we are seeing the two priesthood, Moses being from the priesthood of Melchizedek at this time, because the priesthood of Aaron is not yet established at this point here, and Riship would be from the priesthood of Mahan, or priesthood, the order of Cain under Satan. And he commanded his sorcerers to assemble in their temples. Sorcerers who will be commanding the fallen watchers, the evil watchers, the evil angels. And they proceeded after their manner for many days. And Moses got himself upon a hill. A hill, we said, is a holy watcher. And these guys also, they are sorcerers. So they're equipped in their language to command the evil watchers. And he bowed himself before the Lord, Moses, and Aaron was witness, and he called upon the name of God of Shabuah, the God of covenant. Remember we said in the the sealed portion, Cain got people under oath and covenant to do secrets, under their secret societies, to do evil, although they don't perceive themselves as evil, but good in their way. So now let's see. So he called upon the name of God of Shabuah, the God of the covenant, and the lovely one, and he called out Yatzal and Baal-Rachel and Abariel, and Aaron sounded the trumpet. So this is the ritual. So now let's look at Yatzal, Barakiel, and Abariel to see which element is Moses commanding. So we come back to the chart of the angels, holy angels. So he commanded Yaskal, the thunder. He commanded Barakal, the rain. And then he commanded Abariel, I think, the clouds, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So we said in order to command these things, then you know the language. And that's our say, that's the language Azan is telling Noah, because Noah was trying to call the flood and he couldn't do it because he didn't know the exact language to command every element in his language. So it means Moses right now knows how to command the thunder, the rain, and the clouds. And Moses invited them to show forth their love and power before the eyes of all Israel, that they may become convinced to the truth of the vision of their fathers, and they might have faith in God, and they might love him. So basically what he's saying is, manifest your power so that we see, so that this community of Israel will see and believe that we are powerful God. And it came to pass that out of the east a storm arose, and such as had never before been seen in the land, and the winds blew, insomuch that it carried sand in all the dwelling, and the thunder shook the foundation of the earth, and the lightning flashed, and crashed down upon them, and rolled about upon the ground, and rain came unto the river in great abundance, and it hailed and pounded their crops, and the water swept many of their possession into the river, and all the people were so afraid, and the storm descended, and it lay upon the land all that day, and did not pass by. And the god Rashbab was put to nothing before the God of Israel. And the king hearkened himself to call Moses, and Moses came even as he bid him. And the king said, I will let the people go if you call upon the God of Israel to cause this storm to pass, for my country is destroyed. Even now the plantings of my fields are no more. And Moses called upon God, and he asked the holy angel to cease, and it was so, and the land was silent, and the clouds passed from off the lands. So if you go back to our case, something is said to be put on the soil or under the soil, as being said by the prophet or the traditional doctor, those who are able to command the angels or the holy watchers. I know if I say traditional doctor, people are jumping off their beds and moving about. The Spirit of God, those who receive a revelation from God directly, need not to be taught by men. And they don't go to church because they are in direct communion with God. If you read in the sealed portion, it will tell you that. So, and I know people who go to church are the most judgmental, and they will cast away even the highest prophet of the order of Melchizedek out of their midst because they don't go to their churches. The highest priests. If you read these books, you realize the highest priest in today's society will be more like sangomas, because mostly they will be wearing animal clothing and tree barks around their bodies. They'll be so strange, just like people like John the Baptist or even Samson. They're not taught by men, but by the Holy Spirit. They were ministered to by the Holy Spirit. And I don't think the society called them prophets or gave them any reverence. So I know a lot of people will be thinking that. So we are the most judgmental of all the people, even the drunkards and people who don't go to church will listen. So let me get to more examples. So we already know from our Bible, I think it's Elijah, one of those, outran the horses because I'll say he utilized Rahavel, the wind, the spirit of God, which is the spirit of God, and he outran the horses after he tied himself with the belt of covenant. We know when Elijah went to heaven, the wind took him. Should I say wind of fire, which are angels, the burial. So the power of the elements is what is at question in our case. So how is someone able to hide a potion, an evil potion, to do bad? How did they get into the soil if we didn't see? So let's get, I don't know how they get the muti or the potions into the soil. I haven't seen one, but I have been around a lot of prophets who have removed some. And one element that we use mostly, that I've seen you have used, not myself as removing but participating, is coal, maghala. Just coal, black coal from just burnt firewood. It's used because if the Kadikoi or the evil watchers were used, commanded to do something bad and to seal a potion because it's something that is done in secret, then to break the power of that the oath and covenant and chanting that was used to put power into that potion or to do whatever it is bid to do, then we have to break that power. And before you could even dig it up, you have to trap it so that you could locate it. So mostly things like coal is used. Why? Because in righteous, coal on its own is a burning stone of God. So this destabilize, or should I say motionalize the power of the evil watcher or the element of wickedness. So basically it's like you disarm it, demobilize it, stop it where it is. And I think that's my thought. A lot of things, when they're commanded, they behave differently. Some now we have established that in righteousness, the elements have life. But when they become wicked, they are cut from the spirit of life. They are given a certain spirit which is in wickedness, which all those who practice or under that society will be able to command. So how they command it or how the elements behave under their command it's a mystery of the prophets. But when you are there to arrest it, then you have to command a power also that will render their power helpless, just like Moses is commanding the thunder, the rain, and the clouds to overpower those elements. So it's the same logic. But things like digging mostly is done so that people could see and believe. So after you have arrested it, let's say you used water, which is water on its own, which is the pureness of God. It has that power. So the spirit of Kayal or Sarahel, those are the power of those spirits that will be commanding, which send the pureness of God, the pureness, the power of presence of God there that will shatter anything that is evil. That's what we said, the power that God put in here, because himself, if he came, nothing will stand. But with this power, then it means we could arrest any evil presence that is there, and we could render those other elements that were commanded to do evil to stop at their present location or disable them. So the reason for digging mostly, personally, I think, though you are removing, but is to convince to the truth of the power of the side or the God which you are utilizing, so that people could see and believe. Otherwise, they will doubt, because there will be nothing to show. I remember in our church, we used, there came a resolution because people were now cheating others and claiming to be removing things. And then I think the narrative is you have to kill the element of wickedness where they stand. You don't have to remove them. So, but looking at the level of faith that we have, how many people are going to believe that something is dead if they didn't even see it by their own eyes? So if you are to remove something, then you have to command some elements in their language to your ability or the presence of the Spirit in you, so that you could stop that other element of wickedness, and you could take it and remove it, because you know where it is now, because you disabled it by putting the presence of the loving Father at that spot, or at the to displace the presence of that evil one. And then you could dig, arrest it, and remove it. So we are talking about power, the power of righteousness, and we are talking about the power of wickedness and the power of righteousness. So these are the forces which will be fighting. And if that is power that is commanded is to bring, let's say, pollution, diseases, and then you are commanding, let's say, coal to arrest it, you are burning it with the presence of God, and then you could remove that thing. It means you are commanding a power, a force that will overshadow this one, so that you could remove it, or so that you even could not, sometimes you could not even use your own hand. You command that other one to come because now it's powerless. Like in the example of Moses, his snake, which is the snake, which is, I think, just a second here, the angel Shamael, he commanded his stick, which is a tree, to turn into a snake. So now it contained the pure love of God, and it turned and ate the snakes of the sorcerers. So there are many forms of how to overpower, depending on the command of the person who's using it and the power that they possess in terms of prophecy or skill. So this is science, but it's more of the power of the spirit, because now we are talking about the elements which science won't talk about in that sense. The sun is not light of God there, or does not bring the knowing of God. To us in science, there need to be something else, to be maybe, could say it's a planet or a galaxy, and that's it. In terms of holiness, it has very little front to present in that matter. The fountains, the animals, they don't represent the same body in the eyes of scientists or scientific community or science-based communities. So that's why we don't see things the same way. So I do believe understanding how people command this element will then be left at your own skill, your own talent in terms of possessions of the Holy Spirit, and your own righteousness. The skill, the ability, the knowledge, and your ordained path. Some are ordained prophets. Some are chosen upon moments to do a certain bidding for God of heaven or the evil spirits. So now let's look at Numbers 16. Numbers 16 verse 16. And Moses said unto Korah, be thou and all thy company before the Lord, and thou and they and Aaron and to tomorrow, and take every man his censer, and put incense in them. So the censers and the incense okay, and bring you before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers, and thou also Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of the Lord appeared upon the congregation. So when you are commanding the elements in righteous, you are connecting to the network of the Son of God, the glory of the Lord. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, and saying, separate yourself from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. So it's judgment. And they fell upon their face and said, O God, the God of all spirit of the spirit of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be rough with all the congregation? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan, Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spoke unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. So they get up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram, and on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out, and stood in the doors of their tents, and their wives, and their children, and the little children. And Moses said, Hereby shall you know that the Lord has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own hand. I'm not commanding these elements for vengeance. The Lord commanded me, if these men die, the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord has not sent me. So God will kill them an unusual death, he's saying. But if the Lord make a new thing, and the earth open up her mouth and swallow them up, with all that appertaineth unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then we shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. So Moses petitioned the Lord. I don't know if it's the right word to use. Say, do a new thing. Let the mouth of the earth open up and swallow them up. So in our case, we're saying something is put in the soil by the wicked man, and then using the elements, whether they sprinkle water or salt, or salt is an element, sodium chloride chemically. So if the earth will open up and swallow them, then know that God did this. God heard the petition. It's the rightful punishment, it's the worthy punishment for their sinfulness. So in our case, they're digging it up. Now, because we have to be shown to believe for our sake, to witness it and believe, then we see. But the wicked, with their potions, with their oaths and covenant, with their secrecy, they command the elements, and a bit even command the elements also when they're waking, so that they detox us not to even hear their presence. That's why we don't hear their doings. But I know people, and I have heard people who hear the doings of the wicked at night, and they even see them with doors closed. They could tell who is outside. That's what I'm saying. It's the ability and the talents of individuals, and also the level of righteousness that we have, that will determine if you'll be able to hear the sound. So if you are more than one people, if you are a couple of people, I don't know the English, if you are more than two people in a house, maybe one will be able to hear it because of their ability to interact with the elements, and others will not. So that's not a normal shovel grind against the soil that you hear every day. They will be chanting and commanding of the element in wickedness that will be happening at that moment. So if you are not equipped and ready, guarded or clothed in righteousness, I bet you'll be falling asleep fast, or you'll be falling into a deep sleep. You will not even hear the shovel hitting against the rock. Not that it's not hitting against the rock, because you are overpowered by the presence of the chanting and commanding of the elements in your surrounding by the wicked. So that's why even when someone is fighting against such spirits, they have to command the elements in righteousness to their ability and skills to be able to overpower what was done or to undo what was done. So I don't know if I could answer you to the level that you want. Let's go to Revelation 8 verse 1. And I saw the seventh angel which stood before God, and to them were given 7 trumpets. And another angel came and stood at the altar, having a golden censer, and they were given unto him much incense, that he should offer it with the prayers of all saints upon the golden altar which was before the throne, and the smoke of the incense. So the incense is being burnt, which came from the prayers of the saints, ascended unto the throne of heaven out of the angel's hand. And the angel took the censer and filled it with the fire of the altar. So we are seeing the incense, we are seeing the smoke from the incense, we are seeing the fire, and cast it upon the earth, and there were voices, thundering, lightning, earthquakes. And the 7 angels which had the 7 trumpets prepared themselves to sound. So Moses also commanded in the book of Agi, commanded the elements, and Aaron sounded the trumpet to call the elements to act. So we see here, the first angel sounded, and they followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of the tree was burnt up, and all the green grass was burnt up. So what was commanded? The incense, the prayers, burnt in the altar, and sounding of the trumpet. Look at the results. So it's the order or the turnout of events and the request and the expectations will also depend on the ability of who is commanding, and also the mercy of God who will be answering in kind. And the third part of the creatures which were in the sea had life died, and the third part of the ships were destroyed. So this is punishment. If the prayer is acknowledged, then God answers, and the elements or the watchers respond in kind to the request. So here we are seeing that God, in Revelation 8, the angels are commanded to prepare the incense in the censer again, fill it with fire at the altar, cast it upon the earth, and then the angels of thunder, lightning, and the earthquake take place after the trumpet. And then we see the distractions that's happening in the sea, the trees bent up. So this is the command and utilization of the angels that is shown as punishment or judgment on the wicked. So now let's look at So let's look at the cave of treasures, the 3,000 years from the flood to the reign of Reu. We are going to look at the burial of Adam. And Shem took the body of Adam and Melchizedek. So Shem and Melchizedek took the body of Adam and went forth by night from among his people and behold, the angel of the Lord, who was going before them, appeared unto them. Let me clarify something here. The holy watchers reside with men, the trees, the hills, but in every heaven there are levels of angels up to the highest order of heaven, the presence of Father. Nah, not in the presence. Should I say in the presence of Father? Okay, let me not say it in the presence of Father. There are different levels or rankings of heavens or of angels in the heavens. So here we are seeing that there's an angel of the Lord here, and I don't think he's a watcher here, who was going before them, appeared unto them, and the journey was very speedy, because the angel of the Lord strengthened them until they arrived at that place. And when they arrived at Golgotha, which is the center of the earth, the angel of the Lord showed Shem the place for the body of Adam. And when Shem had deposited the body of our father Adam upon the place, so said the angel said, okay, put the gasket here, or the scepter here. So he placed it there, upon the place the four quarters of the earth separated themselves from each other. So he put the casket down, and the earth opened itself up. And the earth opened itself in the form of a cross. And Shem and Melchizedek deposited the body of Adam there. That is in the cavity. So it opened without being dug, opened itself. And as soon as they had laid it therein, the four quarters of the earth drew quickly together and enclosed the body of our father Adam, and the door of the created world was shut fast. And that place was called the Kakapra, that is the skull. So this is where Jesus was crucified, at Golgotha, at the burial, the exact place, spot where Adam was buried. So my point is, they dig. We want to hear the sound, but I think it's for our convincing, so that, and maybe also by their ability or limitation of their ability, but the earth is has a spirit of life on its own. It could be commanded to open and close by the virtue of the presence of the command of the person who is dealing with it. And we see that in the presence of Shem and Melchizedek, it opened and Allah welcomed Adam happily and then closed without being dug. There, in our case, is being dug. But my point is, it had the same spirit of the element that it could be commanded to open up and issue forth or throw out the object that you want to take out of it. If you are skilled enough, or if you are powerful enough to wield that power as a prophet or a healer or a traditional doctor. And also, we could use other elements like coal, water, salt to stop something, command the earth to kill the power of that element, or arrest it, hold it with other elements, and then you could for sure, know for sure to where it is and stop it and dig it out. But the presence of the sound is in the ability of the user, especially from the wicked, when they are doing their wickedness at night or during the day, or sending to command us or command the air, because the air is the medium that transmits sound waves, to command it not to reveal anything to us, because they also have the power. And there are people who have the ability to not be neutralized by the command of the wicked. So even when you are in the presence of some people, will still be able to hear when something is being done in wickedness in your presence, whereas you are not seeing. So not everything is put down by digging. Some are commanded. They even command the earth as an element. More like the earth is feminine. So I'll use the example as a woman. A woman, you could ask her gently and in love for her love, and she will agree. And you'll exercise your love in happiness and in mutual agreement. So that's the relation I'll give between the holy angel and a righteous person. You both commune in love. But the earth is not evil, yet the people who exercise wickedness are still able to forcefully command it to react a certain way, just like a man or a female will force another person, maybe through act of sex or coercion, to submit to them by force, because they are powerful, or they also have the ability to issue certain command to subdue the other party. So I think I have made most of my point. If it's not enough, ask more for me to clarify. So those who command the fallen angels or the demons, they are under their own priesthood. So some call it the priesthood of Mahan, the priesthood under Cain, the priesthood under their god Satan. And those who are under the priesthood of Melchizedek, or the priesthood under Aaron, which is the order established by Adam, also will be able to command and talk to the elements of righteous to do good. But overall, everything will differ according to our ability and skill and vision when commanding the elements. And let's remember, the Holy Spirit will withdraw if you are wicked. So the wicked men and women use another spirit, a counterfeit spirit that's given to them to do all their misdeeds under their own religion. So I'll put a video about how Abraham taught science, or how science is originated by angels, being the holy angels given to the righteous people, and the fallen angels given to the wicked, their science. And right now, our society, our science is based upon the fallen angels' perspective. That's why we lack spiritualism as an element in to connect science and the righteous gospel. Because in this reality, science is an independent religion or entity away from God. So Noah taught the use of herbs by the angels for resisting the demons. And one of us, he commanded that we should teach Noah all the medicines, for he knew that they would not walk in uprightness, nor strive in righteousness. And we did according to all his words. And all the malignant evil ones were bound in that place of condemnation, and a tenth of part of them we left that they might be subjected before Satan on the earth. And we explained to Noah all the medicines of their disease, together with their seductions, how he might heal them with herbs of the earth. And Noah wrote down all things in a book as we instructed him concerning every kind of medicine that the evil spirit, thus the evil spirit were precluded or prevented from hating the sons of Noah. So we see that herbs, medicines for curing diseases were given to Noah and his sons by the angels commanded by God or the Son. But now in our reality, all people who knows the medicines of the trees, the herbs, are called what? Traditional doctors, sangomas, voodoos. Why? Who would label those? Who would have a problem with this being known? The evil ones. Because the government is under the beast system from Persia, Rome, Greece, the great European empires, and the last beast system, which is standing. That's the evil ones in rule. So now the medicines and the herbs, we only see them from a scientific point of view, which is in error, because the fallen angels do not have, God did not allow them to have the perfect knowledge of the heavens, of the internal realm. Because they could destroy mankind if given that much freedom. So this is what the fallen angels taught men to corrupt themselves here. And we have seen also in the book of Jubilee how the holy angels also taught men the use of the elements of righteousness, or how to utilize the holy angels. So I'll put some video clip explaining science and the knowledge of star on a separate video to make this, to end this. I hope I have answered, at least shed some light. I don't know if I have really answered it. I'm sorry I made it too long, because otherwise I wouldn't make sense. Thank you.